guys, I'm glad to meet you guys back in my next chapter, which is chapter 6. As we were talking about towns, traders, and craft persons, we talked about map and the introduction in the first video. In the second video, we talked about administrative centers and temple towns and pilgrim towns. We also did a question right down here. What do you think people regarded? And I got a lot of your answers. And today we are going to go on with the third page, and I am going to skip this box right over here. Why? Because the main reason is this box doesn't will come into most of your exams, I think. But if it mainly comes, you just have to read it. There is no understanding in this box, guys. So if you won't spend time, we will do little bit of this box in detail, but not a lot of it. So here we go with a pen. So in this, they are telling us about a lost wax technique which was used to make bells. Now to make bells, they need a bell-like sound. So for producing that bell-like sound, they used tin. They contain a greater amount of tin. This produces a bell-like sound. Now, as the name suggests, lost wax technique, there is somewhere use of wax in it. So using the wax image, whatever you have to make, first it was made up of wax. After that, it was covered with clay. Now once it has been covered with clay, it had to be allowed to dry. Yes, my dear children, it had to be allowed to dry. Now once it was dried, it was heated so that the tin inside it, the wax, it melts out, and then they just created a tiny hole so that the wax which is melted can come out through this hole. Then from that same hole, the molten metal, the tin, it was put inside, and after that it was allowed to dry, cool, and solidified, and then carefully clay cover was removed. This thing was carefully cleaned and polished, and then this proper bell-like statue was made. What do you think were the advantages of using this technique? Now the first advantage we can write is it was very accurate. Yes, and it produced splendid statues. You can see right over here the splendid statues, and the bell-like sound was great, and these statues lasted long. They didn't they don't last for about 2 years or 3 years. They lasted for hundreds and thousands of years. That is why we have one of them today with us. Clear, guys? So I'm sure let's move to the next place. Let's take a pen. Yeah. So right over here we have a picture here. This picture shows us a statue which has a bell-like sound and which is made up of this technique, lost wax technique. Here I have one figure to show you guys. Now in this it says a question for us. Okay, let's see what the question is. Now this says that the figure that we just saw was a bronze statue of Krishna. We can finally see, we can have a look at that again. It is a statue of Krishna subduing the parent demon Kalaya. Now, Kalia, what is the Krishna doing? He's doing the subduing the serpent demon Kalia. Is this thing clear, you guys? Now let's move to this paragraph. This is one of the important paragraphs, and I want you guys to understand this paragraph in detail. And I don't want you guys to get bored. Yes, I'm right. I think you may get bored with such big videos. So this video was just to explain you the lost wax technique and this figure. Now, before ending today's class, I want you to practice one question with me of today's topic, tomorrow's, or day before tomorrow's topic. So, for that thing, I am going to the end of the chapter right over here, where we will do one such question and I'll explain you that question. Now, here in Let's Do This has a question that we have to find about the architecture of either Thanjavur or Hampi. Now, till now we have done Thanjavur, not Hampi. So, means you guys are going to do this of Thanjavur and send me on WhatsApp. And the first best thing, I'm going to give an award. So, guys, be ready and let's go now to today's question. Today's question is, who lived in black towns in cities such as Madras? I know we have not covered this till now, but this is an important question and we have to do this. The next question we are going to do is, how was water supplied to the city of Thanjavur? We have completed Thanjavur, so I'm pretty sure that will be able to solve this question right away now. So let's do. Now, water. How was water supplied to the city of Thanjavur? We just read in the chapter in the last video that in the city of Thanjavur, water was supplied from wells and tanks. This way the water was supplied. So the first question, which is the question number 3, we have completed. Now the second question which we have to do is question number 4. It requires a little much of brain in it. Means it is not such easy as the earlier question. So I want you guys to pay a little more attention to this question. Here we go. Yes. Now the question is, who lived in black towns and cities such as of Madras? Now we are talking about black town. You know this thing, we are talking about black towns. Now what does the name suggest? The name is simply saying of the black towns. Is this thing clear? Black towns. What were these black towns? The black towns were down the cities such as Madras. It was also telling us about the cities of Madras, guys. Now, Madras is where the Britishers or the European companies. So I'm writing Euro. It's a little difficult to write on the screen. Yes. So Europe and other European countries such as English, Dutch and Britishers have settled their East India Company there. And when they have settled East India Company, they lived there. Now to live there, they didn't want to live with the people of India. Why? Because at that time in Madras, the people were blacksmith or pottery makers. They were not such big trader persons or businessmen as the Britishers were. So the Britishers didn't want to stay with the Indian people. Now, when we are talking about Madras, there was no king who was ruling the Madras. Madras was under the control of Mughals. And as you guys know, where did Mughals live? The main capital of Mughals was Delhi, and that is where they live, or the Agra places there, Uttar Pradesh, that is where they mainly lived, and they were having their capitals there. Now Madras, it was not having a particular king or the queen. So when the Britishers came, the Mughals allowed the Britishers to trade and live in Madras. Now when the Britishers were given permission, they took this as an opportunity to take over Madras. When they took over Madras, they divided it into two towns, black towns and white towns. Black towns were where all the people lived, and white towns were where the Britishers lived. And this is how the British Empire came in India. Now we are not going to talk about British Empire in such detailing, but the answer of this question, finally, after such important discussion, what can we say the answer of this question? Who lived in the black town in the city of in Madras? Indian people, but not only Indians, of lower caste. So, of lower caste. The people who were of lower caste, they lived in these black towns. So, I hope today's concept is clear, guys. Thank you. Meet you in the next video. Coming up with our next questions, next explanations. Thank you very much.